All right, Heath, you left us with a really great question last time about how to engage the workforce. But when I got to thinking about it, I think we actually want to come up and talk about something even simpler, which is, does anyone want to come to work anymore?
I think it's a really good question. And one of the things that I think is a really good, strong practice is if you have organizations that aren't having those challenges, to ask the question, what are they doing well? And so yes, there are organizations that are not struggling like others to find workforce, and there are organizations that are still dealing with 2,000 applications for a single position. So yes, people want to work.
You know, what's interesting to me, we have the privilege, both of us, of working with organizations who already know they want to be better. So these are not slackers. But I recently facilitated an executive retreat for a company, and this is a large company in a well-known industry. They have the practice of a workforce survey. A lot of people do this, right? You send out the questions, people answer them, the executives go somewhere and decide what they're going to do about it. And I opened the question up to the executive group. I said, what do you all take away from these results, and what do you think we need to do differently? And I had one executive who said, Heather, I've got this one. I know the answer. I said, okay, what is it? He said, it's the potato salad. People hate the potato salad at the workforce picnic. And that's why they don't want to come to work here anymore. Now, Heath, nothing in that data said potato salad, but I was still taken on a 45-minute ride talking about whether or not we should change the potato salad vendor. Are these workforce surveys useful?
All right, so the first thing I have to ask you is, we said we were going to use real examples. You can't tell me that's a real example.
That's a real example. 45 minutes of my life at an executive retreat on whether we chilled it too much or had too much mayonnaise in the potato salad.
Do they make potato salad?
No!
Okay, so this makes no sense to me.
This makes no sense.
So what I would say is this actually isn't that hard. The disciplines may be hard, but this is actually much simpler than a lot of people want to make it. How do you listen to your workforce? The first thing is you have to ask them what they want. And you have to be really genuine about listening to the answer, but you need to ask the question in a very specific way. And please don't miss this, because this is one of the biggest things I've seen organizations do well. And so it's going to start with something like this. And I've done this well, and I've failed on this. So I'm speaking from both personal experience and seeing best practices. And I like to use the idea of a town hall meeting. If you walk into a town hall meeting and ask people, what do you want? What can I do to make you happy? I know you just lowered your employee satisfaction, because it's too broad. However, if you do it this way, hey, the mission of our organization is this, and our vision is this. What do you need to do to meet our mission and move our vision forward? That's a very different question. And so, very specific thing, if you work for an organization, that the number one thing to do is to get to patients quickly. Ask them, what do you need to do to get to patients quicker? And what is it that you need to do in order for this organization to move forward here, here, and here? And people may say, well, that's not about them. Well, the only way that works is if you understand your people well enough to know what they want. Are they a college student that doesn't need a 401k? They need reimbursement for education. Are they somebody that's in their 50s that's ready to retire? What is their 401k? You need to know that about them.
Interesting, Heath. I heard you say a lot of good things that I want to recap before we leave this thought. One is you need to hire people that are a cultural fit. You need to hire people that are a cultural fit for what it is you're trying to do. So we are back to the t-shirt, right? The mission and vision. I also heard you say that within your workforce, you're going to have different groups, and those groups are going to have different needs.
Yes.
I think the example you gave is key, because I do work with someone in the restaurant industry, and when they talk to people about 401k, their eyes glaze over. They want flexible shifts, and they want cash. That's very different than some of the other companies you and I have had the privilege of working with.
Absolutely.
The last thing I heard you say is, if you're going to ask people, and you should, if you're going to ask your employees what they need to be engaged, you have to be prepared to do something about it. And last, but certainly not least, never ever talk about potato salad.
I think I would agree with that. I'd like to make it just a little more pointed. First and foremost, ask them based on your mission, vision, and values, not everything they want. The second one is be genuine, and then do something about it where you can. If you can't, explain to them why not. And I think that's really a pretty simple best practice. I don't get the potato salad.
All right, friend, where are we headed next?
You know, I think if we're talking about the workforce in our team, probably we ought to talk about how we're empowering them to take care of the customer, which is why most of us are here anyways, to create value for people.
All right, we'll see you then.